All right, Steph Curry
You
recently joined Gilbert Arenas on Gilbert Arenas podcast to talk basketball stuff, of course. And what is making waves during this interview is Curry commenting that he believes he's the greatest or best point guard of all time. Now, granted, he didn't elicit this conversation on his own. He was prompted by Gilbert Arenas, who asked him the question and he answered it. And we have to believe that he answered it honestly. But these sports debates are always fun. So we figured that we would talk about this on the channel. Besides, we haven't had a sports topic on the channel in a while. So why not? This is sure to get a lot of people talking because these types of conversations tend to do that. But first, we'll go ahead and provide a little context here. Uh, so this says Steph Curry, I'm the greatest point guard ever. There's no debate. Steph Curry is the greatest point guard of all time. At least that's what the Golden State Warriors star himself believes. Curry joined Gilbert Arenas on the ex NBA stars Gil's Arena podcast this week to make the proclamation, putting himself ahead of Magic Johnson on the GOAT point guard list. Side note, that is one hell of a title for his podcast.
what's that?
That is very clever.
Oh, Gilbert Arenas.
Um, Gil's Arena, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Uh, so it's me and Magic. He asked Arenas, is that the conversation? The guys then kicked around the topic for a few moments, but Curry made it clear in his eyes he's number one. Of course, he's definitely got a case. He's a four-time NBA champion, a two-time MVP, nine-time All-Star, and the league's greatest ever three-point shooter. Johnson, meanwhile, is a five-time champ, a three-time MVP, and a 12-time All-Star. But Curry told Arenas he just has to put himself on top, saying, quote, I have to answer it that way. So um, we'll go ahead and actually play a snippet from this so that we can, actually hear Curry say this about himself. And this has already got the internet on fire with people debating whether Stephen Curry is ahead of Magic Johnson on the greatest point guards of all time list.
with Magic.
Mm-mm-mm.
Are you the best point guard ever?
Yes. I have to, yes. It's me and Magic. That's the conversation.
Like it just, as we can look at stats all day, right? We can look at stats and try to judge. I wasn't around with Magic. I know, right? So
I have so much respect.
I know there's not a lot of 6'9" point guard. No one's trying. I'm thinking about the '90s growing up. There was nobody trying to be a 6'9" point guard, right? I mean, it just. But I can witness and watch every kid trying to be Curry. You know what I mean? So it's like the influence that you really have on the game from the position as a player. I look at the stats and say, okay, Magic then Curry. When I look at the kids and I watch AAU, it's like, nah.
Yeah. I mean, I obviously I have to answer it that way, but I really feel like, to your point, like Magic's resume is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, all right, so the fact that we're even having that conversation is it's a place I never thought I'd be in. But the fact that, to your point of like how you grade it and the whole conversation, that's why we have the conversations, because it's fun and it's measuring errors against each other. And I love that's what basketball, that's what sports is all about. That's why people watch. That's why people get in heated debates about it. I love it. So you put me on my own team, I'm gonna rep myself for sure.
I get that. Good answer, I would say.
Yeah, I thought that was a measured way to answer that question. I don't think that there was anything particularly egregious about that. But of course, there's people who are going to have their opinions. And so, the idea that he is the greatest point guard of all time. What are your thoughts on that?
I just, listening to the whole clip in its totality, you can see why he said that. So I don't think he's the best point guard ever, but if I were him, I would say I was. So, bro, there was dudes in the league when I was hooping, like for real. I didn't feel like I can beat them, but I feel like I can give them a run for their money. Now, the only reason why I felt that is because, well, it's me. And I ain't going to lose to nobody. I don't care if he is 5 inches taller than me. You know, this is what I'm telling myself.
Yeah.
And if you're not telling yourself this, then you're not going to reach the next level within yourself. So he made it this far in his life and this far in his career by being somebody that has some type of chip on his shoulder in order to put a battery in his back for him to actually go out there and be one of the greatest shooters to ever play basketball. So if you ask that man, do you think you're the best? I expect him to tell me that he's the best. With that being said, I don't agree with him. You know, I think he's one of the better point guards to ever play the game. I would have him on a lot of my simulation teams, that's for sure. But there's something in Curry that I do think is missing that prevents him from being the greatest ever. And to me personally, I think it's an internal factor, a gamer factor that he does not have. Now he's a gamer. He knows how to be a champion clearly, but at the same time, I don't like the word killer instinct because not everybody has to have that, and everybody won't have that. But there is a thing within being a gamer that you can still be a gamer without a killer instinct. For instance, Jimmy Butler is a gamer. You know, he's not necessarily going to rip your heart out. He has. But you know that Jimmy Butler is going to be out there mixing it up, and he's going to most likely show up and be a calming force on the team, you know, a good leader. And so what Steph Curry does is he has a good calming force of, hey, Steph's out there, we've got a shot. And he's good at that. But when it comes to actually, you know, taking over games and stuff like that, that's not really his forte. That's not his cup of tea. He has done it, but he's not like, I mean, Steph Curry can be stopped. So I've got at least a couple people ahead of him as far as like actually pure like point guards. But as far as like modern, how the game has evolved due to his level of shooting, you can't deny that. So he's definitely within my top 5 of point guards ever in mines, but not number 1. So how about you, sir? How do you feel about this? Do you feel like Steph Curry was buying a little bit too much of his own stock here? Or do you think I don't know. How do you feel about this?
Yeah, I respect him answering the question the way that he did. I wouldn't expect him to answer it in any other way, but I don't believe that he is either. I disagree. I do think that it's still Magic Johnson, but part of that is because it's by default. Like during Magic's era, all the way through like, I don't know, the end of Kobe's era, I guess, or right up until when Kobe retired, stopped playing. I would say that the game of basketball was played with defined positions. Point guard orchestrated the offense, but could shoot. Shooting guard scored points, but wasn't responsible for getting people in spots to be effective and orchestrating offenses. And small forwards was sort of like the small forward was always like the shooting guard light, or maybe a lot of times the small forward did what the shooting guard did. It depended on which player was better. Like if you had a player on your team who was a small forward and the small forward was better than the shooting guard, then the small forward assumed those scoring responsibilities that would traditionally be allocated to the shooting guard. And the shooting guard would sort of be the supporting role. Power forward was an enforcer, played defense, got rebounds. Center was the anchor, guarded the paint, scored in the paint, tried to block shots, and all of that good stuff. But basketball is not the same anymore. It's completely positionless. So in my mind, when I think about point guards, I think about the people who orchestrate offenses. To me, Curry doesn't. to me, Curry is an offense unto himself
Mhm,
because of how the defense responds to what he can do.
mhm.
But I don't necessarily think of him as somebody who gets people in spots and sets guys up. And the Warriors don't even play offense that way anyway. They kind of do freewheeling, constant pick and roll off ball, people running all over the place, open catch and shooting, cutting lanes to the basket. But there's multiple people on the court at the same time who can do those things. It's not Curry who's solely relied upon to make those kind of plays. So I can't necessarily say that I look at him as a point guard per se, even though officially that's his position because the NBA still lists players based on position. And so by position, he's a point guard. But who's a point guard between the two of them more than the other? Magic Johnson, who set the whole thing up night in and night out. Furthermore, Magic was a matchup nightmare because he was 6'9" and could dribble pass. And shooting was probably the thing that he did the worst of those three things, but he was competent enough. You're not just leaving him wide open. He ain't Draymond. Whereas, like, leave Draymond open, we going to take that chance. Magic would make shots if he was open. Magic could play multiple positions. Magic just was LeBron before LeBron. He was a Swiss Army knife. He could just do so many things well. But his primary responsibility was orchestrating offense. And so I look at that and I say, I'm still going to give the nod to Magic over Steph, not because Steph can't be considered the greatest point guard ever, but because I don't think about basketball anymore in terms of positions. To me, basketball is completely positionless. Like people call LeBron the greatest point guard of all time because he spent the vast majority of his career with the ball in his hands, orchestrating offense and dribbling up and down the court and setting people up. But he's 6'9", 250, and he's an average to mediocre three-point shooter and an average to mediocre free throw shooter. By the letter of the law, he isn't a point guard, but he is because of the way that he plays. So I guess my point with all of this is because basketball is largely positionless, I don't care what. Throw 5 people on a court right now, and as long as all of them can shoot and give effort on defense, it doesn't matter whether you got a center, a power forward. Nobody cares. It doesn't matter whether you have a center or a power forward or a small forward or a shooting guard or a point guard. No one gives. No, it doesn't matter. No one prepares for basketball in that way anymore. You don't need a center. You don't need a power. You don't need any of that crap. I hear some people sometimes, usually older folks, talking about this team needs a center who can do this. No, they don't. You just need a tall person.
That gets rebounds.
Yeah, you just need a tall person who, if he catches the ball 16 feet or out, can be a threat. But otherwise, if he's in the paint, he can deter a floater here and there, guard the rim, guard the paint sometimes. But what you need more than anything else is 5 guys on the court at any given time who are not offensive liabilities. You don't need centers. You don't need power forwards. You don't need small. You don't need any of that. You need 5 people who can shoot and give effort on defense. Basketball has really become that. And so because it's positionless, I don't think of Curry as a point guard. I think of him as just a guard, a guy who can dribble, pass, and shoot. And he's very good and he's extremely effective. In my opinion, he's one of the 10 greatest players ever already. Maybe he's one of the 5 greatest if you want to go that far. I wouldn't argue with you because he is the greatest shooter of all time. And his impact on the game has been second to none, in my opinion. Point guard, though, I'm going to give the nod to Magic.
Yeah, I agree with that because he's not really a pure point guard, in the traditional form, as you mentioned, where positions actually mattered, So I agree with that. But if I had to throw him in a bucket, of he's a point guard, so put him on the list, it's like, I'm not putting him number 1, 2, or 3 due to the fact that he doesn't do point guard things.
Right.
So now he can score his ass off, but that's not what we're asking him to do. And he's an awesome teammate. And as you say, he's kind of an offense onto himself, but part of his offense is running around the court. So part of him running around is him getting rid of the ball, and so he can run around. And point guards are traditionally known as setting up the person who's running around. So it's kind of like, so you would be taking him out of his wheelhouse, out of his element, if you relegated him to, nah, bro, facilitate, but then just hit open shots. And so, which I think he can do, but it's not his ultimate.
It's not what he does. It's not what he does best.
No.
Yeah.
And so, but I can name at least 5 people better than that, that can do that way better than him. And some of those guys probably weren't even Hall of Famers. So the point I'm trying to make is that, I agree with you that he doesn't really fit the mold of point guard, but due to his elite shooting and scoring and everything else, it just catapults him way up a lot of lists. Literally, his shooting does that. So because of that, it's like, okay, so how much stock do you give shooting? Because we're already giving you a whole bunch of credit for this. You're lapping a lot of people just because you shoot so well. But are we going to give you the crown because you shoot so well? Because there's more to basketball than scoring. So I think it's fair, at least in my world, give him top 5 and as a point guard. As far as basketball players of all time, he's in my top 20. He's in there, top 15. Hey, people will be surprised with LeBron at my list. Nah, LeBron's in there. He's a weirdo. But so Steph, man, he gets a lot of credit in my book. I feel like he's one of the better teammates to ever play the game. Now that I will give him, because of his selflessness, because he knows how to score so well, but he knows how to do it so well that he doesn't take away from yours. That's a skill all in itself. So there's a lot of credit that I give him as a basketball player in its totality. But point guard, I have a strict scale on that, man. I got guys like Rod Strickland real high on my list, So, it's going to be hard to impress me when it comes to pure point guard stuff. But if you throw him in a shooting guard bucket, whoa, he's up there. So I still got Iverson better than him though, if you're doing that. So who would you want real quick? So this probably be an easy list for you, but I'm gonna give you some names, and then you tell me if you would rather have whatever in their primes, of course.
Right. Yeah.
All right. So we'll do point guards. So you already said Magic. So how about Isaiah Thomas?
And I need them to do point guard stuff. That's the question.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll probably go Isaiah. Yeah.
John Stockton.
I'll go Steph.
Ooh, controversy.
Yeah, I'll go Steph. I low key think Stockton was overrated.
Ooh.
I do. Yeah, I think you can't mention Stockton without Malone and vice versa.
Oh, that's a conversation.
That damn annoying ass pick and roll that they ran all game long. That they used to kill people with that damn thing. I hated them for that. So
I did too.
Maybe some of that is my anti-Utah Jazz bias kicking in because I hated that. I hated them so much. I really did.
I did too. My love for Stockton grew after he retired. But go on. What'd you say?
No, yeah, I was just gonna say part of it might be that, but I think because I don't know what Stockton is as a point guard outside of that whole pick and roll with Malone thing, because it was so much of his production. It was so much of it that I don't know. I might go Steph still.
That's true. He was very efficient. That was an efficient fool. Like if you go look at his stats, it's dumb.
Yeah,
it's dumb, bro. It's 50, 40, 90 across the board. 2 steals, 12, 13 assists. Guy was a monster, at least statistically. But I don't know. That's a tough one for me, man. I might do start. All right, so one more point guard. Let me see. Chauncey Billups.
I go Steph over Chauncey.
All right. Oh, Marbury. No, now we're just going down to Marbury. Yeah. All right, so shooting guards. Kobe Bean, right? Oh, that's Hey, I don't know, bro.
No, I know. I'm just if that's not for me. That's not even a question. But there are others who might say Steph. I think that they'd be insane. But
They're
whatever.
trolling and
Yeah,
trolling.
that would be insane.
Okay, yeah, but Allen Iverson, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, I'm gonna go Steph over Iverson.
Reggie Miller.
Steph.
Who's another shooting guard?
If Reggie could do more off the dribble, maybe I'd go Reggie. But Reggie was just almost strictly catch and shoot, whereas Steph is like off the dribble, catch and shoot doesn't matter.
That's fair.
So that's why I would go Steph.
Even though Reggie Miller would literally feast in today's game, I still agree with you. Curry's ball handling and facilitation abilities, it trumps that.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna get one. I had one more on my tongue. Tracy McGrady.
I knew that's who you was gonna say. Yeah. I knew it. I might go T-Mac. I might go T-Mac there because T-Mac was a unicorn. T-Mac could do everything well, and he was 6'9". Yeah. So I just kind of feel like I would go for the matchup problem because I've seen as much respect that I have for Steph. I've seen him get bottled up, particularly in the playoffs.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Particularly in the finals.
Yeah.
Like when LeBron was like, okay, I'm gonna shut this shit down, Curry was ineffective.
Right.
And it's not because Curry's like LeBron's 6'9". So Curry's just not gonna be scoring on LeBron like that. So like, Curry's 6'3". So I've seen Curry get bottled up in playoff games. And McGrady's not getting bottled up by nobody when he in his physical prime, that wasn't happening. So I might go T-Mac.
That's crazy.
Steph has the potential to be able to explode and score. Steph could score 25 points in a quarter.
Right.
Whereas T-Mac, I don't know, had that kind of potency. Even though, again, I know that this is crazy. Like, it sounds weird that I'm saying this because T-Mac averaged 30 a game for like 3-4 years in a row. Like, didn't T-Mac lead the league in scoring like 2 years in a row or 3 years in a row, something like that? So. He was always averaging like 30 a game. But Curry can just go off for a quarter where he scored 20, 25 in a quarter. So I think that lightning in a bottle because of the 3-ball. So the lightning in the bottle with Curry is greater than T-Mac. But from a matchup standpoint, when you throw in the physicality aspect, talking shooting guards, I might go T-Mac because T-Mac 6'9", he could dribble, pass, and shoot. He wasn't the greatest defender in the world, but he wasn't somebody who you would just isolate. He wasn't like, put T-Mac on an island and have his guy go to work. You couldn't do that either. No. There was going to be some effort there. So I would probably go McGrady, honestly.
Interesting. And all right, last one. So, of course, Dwayne Wade. How you feel about that?
Wow. That's tough. Oh, man.
Yeah, got your ass.
Oh, dang. I love Wade.
Wade prime now. We're talking prime.
Right. Prime. I know. That's very hard. That is by far the most difficult one that you asked me.
I'm taking prime Wade, dude. That was different stuff, man. Oh, man. That was different.
I don't know. Yeah.
Oh, prime Curry. Crazy.
I've seen Wade win finals games by himself.
That's what I'm saying. I'm taking prime Wade.
I've seen Wade win finals games by himself.
Yep.
I still to this day contend that the Heat would have won the championship in 2005 if Wade's ribs if Wade didn't have that rib injury, the Heat would have beat the Pistons that year. Like once Wade hurt his ribs, it was over. It was over. And then the Pistons ended up going on. I don't know. I kind of want to plead the fifth on that.
Boo.
I kind of want to plead the fifth. Prime Wade was a problem. I might go Wade.
To me, that's
Wade was a beast on defense too. Wade got people down on defense, and Wade was blocking shots. Wade was like 6'4", blocking shots in his physical prime. He just couldn't shoot all that well, and that's my only thing.
But in
But
the
he
clutch, he
will.
would.
The fact that I saw him win whole games by himself,
That's what I'm saying, dude.
particularly in the finals, we shouldn't have. We shouldn't. He should not have won a championship in 2006.
No,
That should not have happened. But Wade won 4 games by himself, essentially.
we got a little
With
help
a
from the
little,
referees.
yeah,
too.
with a little bit of help from the refs and
Right.
Jason Williams in Game 7.
Yes,
Because
yes.
all of a sudden, White Chocolate Jason Williams scores like 18 points in Game 7. He hits like every shot that he took in that Game 7. No, Game 6, not Game 7.
Which game was? What series was that? What year was that when Mike Miller went crazy?
That was
that-
in 2014 against the Spurs. No,
Oh.
that was when we beat the Spurs in 2013 with LeBron. Yeah, because 2011 they lost to the Mavericks. That was the LeBron meltdown year. Then
Mhm.
2012 they beat OKC, and then 2013 they had us dead to rights in Game 4, and then Ray Allen hits the clutchest shot ever. And then in Game 7 of that series, Mike Miller hit like 7 threes. Like he went,
He
7
went
for
off.
7. Yeah, he went like 7 for 7 on threes.
Yeah. So all right, but yeah, man, I'll take Prime Wade due to the fact he was the first person that I was watching. You know, I guess because I had vested interest, but that was the first time I'm ever watching basketball, and I'm like, and it's like the fourth quarter, and he's about to shoot. I'm like, he's gonna make that, and he would just make it mid range. He'll get in that little mid range pocket and just start hitting those shots. And I'm like, yeah. And as a Heat fan for years, we never had that, bro.
No,
And then we finally had somebody doing it, and it was like, oh shit, this is what it looked like for us to have a guy. So Prime Wade, when he was blocking shots, making half court things, game winners, running up and down, dunking on people. Yeah, right, bro. If we had that for like LeBron longevity, Wade has a better career than LeBron, in my opinion. I think Prime Wade is better. Well, Prime LeBron. I don't mean to bring him in this, y'all, but Prime LeBron is an athletic juggernaut. Prime Wade was athletic plus like the dog. And you know, what's the saying that he had that dog in him? Wade had that dog in him for sure. So yeah, man, I'm taking Prime Wade over Prime Curry. That's a tough one, honestly. I agree, but I don't
it's
know, man.
the offensive explosive potential of Curry is what has me thinking about it. But my eyes can't unsee what I saw
And defense,
with
like you
Prime
said,
Wade,
too, bro.
particularly in the finals. It was, and then like the thing about Wade, and it's interesting too. This will be the last thing I'll say.
Mhm.
When Wade was the craziest thing about Wade, honestly, is his actual physical peak were the years when LeBron left. No, were the years when we won in 06, and then everybody got old. And, that's when, Shaq was gone and that team was over with. The Gary Payton, Jason Williams, Antoine Walker, James Posey. And it was just Wade on the team by himself.
That was
when Wade was averaging like 31, 32 a game for like 2 years during that stretch. He was killing it individually. It's just the team wasn't good enough to contend. Right. So it kind of gets shrouded in history as a result. It's kind of similar to Kobe to me. Like, as quietly as it's kept, I believe that Kobe is the second greatest player ever. That's my opinion. After Jordan, I got Kobe number 2. But the thing with Kobe is, as quietly as it's kept because of how great that he was, when he was at his peak, the Lakers weren't good. All of those years when they were getting coached by Hamlin and Rudy Tomjanovich, and he was playing with Samaki Walker, and
shit,
and Smush Parker and Kwame Brown. That was when Kobe was averaging 35 a game, scoring 81 points, just doing shit that to this day I've never seen another NBA player. I don't care who it is, Kevin Durant, James Harden, Curry. I don't care who you want to throw in there. to this day, I have never seen another NBA player replicate basketball mastery the way Kobe did during those years. It's something I've never seen before. But he was on non-contending teams, so it kind of slights him because of that.
Right.
And with Wade, when he was at the peak of his powers physically, the Heat weren't competitive because it was post Shaq, pre LeBron and Bosh, and Wade was just out there putting up numbers, doing crazy stuff, looking like the best player in the league, but they weren't contending. But because we Heat fans, we from Miami, I was watching these games. So I'm like, this guy's out of control.
He's out of control.
Similar to Kobe during that same period of time. It's like, this guy's out of control, but everybody's like, oh, LeBron is LeBron, blah, 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 blah. My point is, I can't unsee what I saw with Wade, and I don't care whether they were winning or not. I can't unsee the stuff that he was doing as a player. So it's tough. I lean Wade to answer your question over Curry. It's just the explosive potential offensively is what has me thinking about it harder than I probably should. Because I got so much respect for Wade. It's tough. I love Wade, but that just shows you also how much reverence I have for Curry as well.
Oh yeah, no doubt. But the edge to me goes with defense. It's just that's where I get it, and because he was going to stop somebody, Curry was having the damnedest time, much like anybody would, I guess, guarding Kyrie in that finals though.
Oh yeah,
and Kyrie had him on skates the whole time.
He did,
and it was pretty obvious. So Wade, on the other hand, is a little bit more. He can do more about that.
Well, to be, let's also remember one of the things that I knock about LeBron, and this is particularly when he was in his prime physically, very rarely did LeBron ever guard the other team's best player. He didn't. When he was on Cleveland, when he was on the Heat, and then when he went back to Cleveland, usually he did not guard the other team's best player. When he was on the Heat, Wade guarded the other team's best perimeter player. LeBron always skated on that. And for me, that's one of my knocks against LeBron. So defensively, when Wade was in his prime, before he started to decline physically, he would lock stuff up defensively. His matchups did not get off like that. They didn't.
Nope.
And LeBron just kind of got allowed to just kind of sidestep it and guard an inferior player in terms of defensive assignment. But because LeBron was guarding an inferior player, he could play passing lanes and do all of that kind of stuff.
Right.
So he'd get his little steals, and everybody's like, "Oh, LeBron's playing this great defense." When really it was Wade doing all the dirty work.
Facts, bro. But memory lane. Hey man, and he was foul too. I'm like, bro, and they don't call it because he's LeBron. Yeah. Oh, the Heat are playing aggressive defense. I'm like, bro, he's fouling these people. So anyway, I can go down the rabbit hole with that, man. But yeah, man, that was good stuff there, man. But yeah, we're gonna have a John Stockton combo. Or maybe Monday morning quarterbacking this, looking at stats and looking at things and going, well, if he's putting up numbers like this, he had to be elite. But was it a system? Bro, those numbers are crazy. Go look at his numbers. Look at his numbers and go, where's the debate? From there, you be like, oh, he's better than Chris Paul. He's better than this. He's better than it. But, then you have to get rational and go, wait. Whoa. What did I really see? So I said, I'll do myself a favor. I'll go watch some Stockton stuff to jog my memory to remember what I used to see. Because, of course, bro, I could not stand the Jazz. I couldn't stand him. I couldn't stand Hornacek. I couldn't stand Russell.
I hated the whole team. Yeah,
the whole team.
Greg Oyster Tag.
Oh my God. Get him out of here.
That whole team to me was disgusting. I rooted for the Bulls so hard when they was playing against each other. It's just like with Stockton, Karl Malone is the third all-time, or he scored number 3 all-time because it's LeBron 1, Kareem 2, and then Karl Malone is number 3, I think. Most points scored ever. Mm-hmm. So like with Stockton, so much of his stats, if you will, especially those assist numbers, that pick and roll thing that they had going on with Karl Malone and all of them numbers that Karl Malone was putting up, scoring all of them damn points, That's why I'm just like, I don't know. I kind of feel like that was a Jerry Sloan Utah Jazz system kind of thing. I don't want to take anything away from Stockton per se. I just think that there's a caveat that you need to throw in there with that. So yeah, definitely don't just look at the stat sheet because there's obviously a nuance component to it. And you have to actually watch games. By the way, since you brought up stats, if you want to compare numbers between Magic and Steph, it's kind of advantage Magic.
Oh yeah.
Steph has the points advantage,
Mhm.
but Magic has the MVP advantage, the Finals MVP advantage, the assist advantage. Magic is nasty.
Of
For
course.
people who don't remember this, y'all need to Google this guy. Okay. Magic was ridiculous. And imagine if he could shoot threes with regularity, how much of a divide it would have been between Magic and everybody else in terms of the point guard conversation. So if you just want to put the counting numbers and the accolades and all of that and stack that up, outside of points scored, it's advantage Magic. It is.
Yes.
So, I'm still going Magic with that, but that's an interesting thought experiment that you presented. Maybe we can have another segment where we kind of get more into those kinds of things because that is interesting.
Yeah, for sure. And last thing I'll say is that, and Gilbert was talking about, oh, yeah, Steph, because I see these kids trying to play like you. That's because they see Steph playing. They didn't watch Magic. But my older brothers and stuff like that, they would talk about Magic. Magic and Isaiah. It was like, oh, it was either one of those two. And then whenever you watch interviews of players that have already retired and you say, hey, who inspired you? Who Magic name comes up. So Magic he did have a large impact on the game for being 6'9", handling the ball, passing the way that he did, and just being the gamer that he was. So he did have an impact at that time. But of course, nobody can really say, can deny the impact that Steph had from shooting from the logo and all this other dumb stuff he's been doing. Mm-hmm. So, you can't argue that either. But I will still say that Magic still had in his time, still had a lock hole on the game, if you will, when it came to who's the best, who everybody want to be like. I would say Magic still was up there though, for sure.
Yeah. I'm going Magic, man. Magic has the MVP advantage, Finals MVP, assists. I think he has he has to have the rebound advantage. Like, Magic has all of that. I go Magic all day. And Magic played 12 years. He didn't even play like in the grand scheme of it. If you think about how long Magic's career actually was, particularly his prime years before he retired early, if he would have played longer, come on, man. It's, but whatever. I guess I'm old, or rather we're old. I don't know.
Damn.
But I love Steph, but when it comes to that point guard conversation, I kind of disqualify him, quite frankly, because I look at basketball largely as positionless. So I just remove him from the whole thing, period. And I just say he's a guard, and that's it. Point guard, I don't even point guard, shooting guard. I don't even get into all of that. He's just a guard. But there you go. So that's our 2 cents. Let us know where you think we crazy in the comments.
Come on, because I know you do.
Yeah. Yeah. Your LeBron takes definitely gonna have somebody calling you crazy. But that'll do it for tonight's stream, man. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. My name is JV Wins. That is Dogon SS. Do your boys a solid, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. Let us know what you think about the commentary in this or any other video that you happen to be catching on this channel. Catch me on Instagram at JVWins, JVWINS. Catch Conscious Approach on Instagram at ConApproach, CONAPPROACH. And if you are watching this video on the Meta/Facebook page, go ahead and like and follow that page as well. We upload everything there. Wherever you are watching this video, go ahead and support this logical content. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. And until next time, we'll see you on the flip side.
Yes, sir. And the name is Dogon SS, not doggone it. All right. And you can find me on Instagram, all right, at Dogon_SS, and on YouTube at Dogon SS. Also, Hurricane Dogon here on YouTube. God damn. And as I say on every part, guys, don't be too high, don't be too low. Keep it calm, keep it chill, keep it player. And don't let anybody get you off your pivot. All right. So until the next time, guys, We'll catch y'all sipping on some Bud Light.
Yeah. Don't let anybody get you off your pivot, especially Kid Rock. Don't let Kid Rock get you off your pivot, man, because these people are full of boo boo. But until the next time, man, we are out of there.
Yeah,
Peace.
Go Kings.
Go Heat,
Yeah,
baby. Go Seminoles.
Go Dolphins.